Hey there, class. Mr. Plosky here. I hope you're having a good day so far. We are continuing with, this lesson is going to be reviewing how to do greatest common factor and general factoring in the factoring process, okay? So I've circled the ones that we're going to do. We're going to try a couple together, and then you guys are going to try a few on your own, and we'll have some time to practice this as we go through. So, one thing you need to know about GCF, which is the first thing we're doing here, is we want the largest exponents and smallest, largest, I goofed up. I goofed up already. Let me fix that. Now largest exponent. We need the largest number and smallest exponents. That's correct. Largest number and smallest exponent that goes into all three things here, okay? So, or all the terms. So the first one we have, we're going to do number 2 first, all right? So it says negative 27x squared plus 18x plus 90. So we want the largest number that goes into all three of these numbers here, okay? So what's the biggest number that goes into 27, 18, and 90? Well, that's a little tricky, but the answer should be 9, okay? 9 goes into all three of those, all right? My 9s are going goofy. All right, now what's the smallest exponent we can pull out of here? Well, this one has an x squared, this one has an x, and this one has no x. So what's the smallest exponent here? Well, it's going to be no x, right? If it doesn't have an x to give, then that's the smallest exponent. So what we do is we put 9 in front, and then we're going to divide everything by the GCF. Factoring is division, okay? Distribution is multiplication, like the FOIL method. So once we do the GCF, we're going to divide. Factoring is dividing, basically. We're going to divide everything by 9. So what's negative 27x squared divided by 9 going to be? Well, that's negative 3x squared. How about 18x divided by 9? Well, that's 2x. And how about 90 divided by 9? Well, that is 10. And this is how you would find the GCF, the greatest common factor that goes into all the terms, and to factor it out. Okay? Let's do another one to get some more practice. Number 4, negative 54r to the 6th plus 12r to the 5th minus 42r squared. Okay, a little tricky, but what's the biggest number that goes into all three of these numbers here? And I'll give you a trick for this, okay? Pick the smallest number. What's the smallest number we have here? It is 12. I'm going to list the factors of 12, which are 1 and 12 and 2 and 6, okay? It's kind of hard to tell what the biggest factor is. So what I do is I find the factors of the smallest number, and then I see which of these numbers divide by these factors. So does 54 and 42 divide by 12? We start with the biggest one. I don't think so. Do they divide by 6? And they do. 6 is the biggest number that goes into all these numbers here, okay? So list the factors of the smallest number, and then work your way down and around until you get a number that divides into all the numbers, okay? Now, what's the smallest exponent we have here? I see we have r to the 6th, r to the 5th, and r squared. What's the smallest exponent here? It is r squared. So we're going to pull out r squared. And now we put our parentheses, and we're going to divide everything by the GCF, which is 6r squared. Okay, divide these all by 6r squared. You don't need to write out divide by 6r squared every time until you get used to it, but just to show you what's happening here, okay? What's negative 54 divided by 6? That's negative 9. How about 6? What's r to the 6th divided by r squared? What do we do with exponents when we divide? Well, we subtract them. What's 6 minus 2? It's r to the 4th. And now we got 12 r to the 5th divided by 6r squared. That is going to be 12 divided by 6 is 2. R to the 5th divided by r squared is r to the 3rd. 5 minus 3, or 5 minus 2 is 3. Minus 42 divided by 6 is 7. And the r squareds are going to cancel, and we're left with this for our final answer. All right, let's do one more, then you guys are going to try a few on your own, okay? Let's do number 5. We have 8 to the 9th minus 4a to the 7th minus 14a to the 6th. What's the biggest number that goes into 8, 4, and 14? Hopefully you said 2. 2 is the biggest number. You can find the factors of 4, which are 1 and 4. 2 and 2. 4 doesn't go into 14, but 2 goes into all these numbers. So 2 is the GCF for that part. Now, what's the smallest exponent? We have 8 to the 9th, 8 to the 7th, and 8 to the 6th. Which one's smaller? 8 to the 6th is the smallest. Now, we're going to divide these all by 2 8 to the 6th. So what's 8 to the 9th divided by 2 8 to the 6th? That's going to be 4a to the third. Because 9 minus 6 is 3. 4 divided by 2 is 2. 7 minus 1 is going to be 8 to the first, or just a. And then negative 14 divided by 2 is negative 7. 8 to 6 divided by 8 to 6 is going to cancel, and we're left with this for our final answer. All right. And those are the first three. Why don't you guys go ahead and try 1, 3, and 6 and see how you do. All right, welcome back. Let's figure it out here. Number 1, what's the GCF? Oh, this one's a little tricky. Is there a number that goes into 3, 4, and 6? There is not. So we could put a 1 or just kind of don't put a number. No number goes in all three of those. What's the smallest exponent? A squared. So we divide by a squared. We got negative 3a to the 5th minus 4a squared plus 6. All right. That should have been your answer for this one. How about number 3? What number goes into 4, 20, and 6? Should be 2. And there actually is, this one does not have a variable, so we're just going to pull out a 2 because we can't pull out a nothing. All right, so we got to divide this by 2. We get negative 2 plus 10x plus 3. Oops. It's not wanting to cooperate here. 3x squared. Double check my work here. Yes, and we're good. Okay, last one. We have 30 plus 21n minus 12n to the 4th. What's the biggest number that goes into all those? Will be 3, and we can't pull out an n, so we just do parentheses. 30 divided by 3 is 10. 21n divided by 3 is 7n. And 12 divided by 3 is negative 4, n to the 4th. And that will be our answer. Okay, so that's the first topic. Let's move to a different color and a different topic. Now we're talking about factoring using the general factoring method, okay? I'm going to show you how to do it with a couple of these. All right, so we have n squared plus 5n plus 6. So what we have, oops, I goofed up, my mistake. So this is quadratic quadratic expression in standard form. So it's ax squared plus bx plus c, okay? So what we're going to do is we're going to it's not really a diamond, it's kind of an X, but I call it a diamond method. So what we're going to do is we're going to put c is going to go on top, b is going to go on the bottom, all right? So we have n squared plus 5n plus 6. So what we're trying to do here is we're trying to figure out this. So actually, if you were to like distribute this, you know, you go like that, like this, and like this, right? We're trying to go do the opposite. This is the end result, and we're trying to go back to the original parentheses like this, okay? This is what factoring is doing. So let's see if we can figure it out here. So we're going to put c on top. We got 6. We have b is going to be 5. That's what's in front of the n. So what we need is we need two numbers that multiply to 6 and add to 5. That's how we figure out this diamond factoring problem here, okay? What numbers multiply to 6 and add to 5? What multiplies to 6? Let's do 1 times 6, 2 times 3, right? Which of these are going to add to 5? Hopefully you said 2 and 3. Okay, so 2 and 3. Then what we need to do, so this is how it's going to factor. We're going to do our little parentheses here. We're going to put n and n. We're going to put plus 2 and plus 3. If you were to distribute this n plus 2 times n plus 3, you would end up with this. We're going the opposite of distribution or FOIL and going back to the original parentheses here, okay? All right, let's do another one to make sure we get the idea down here. We'll do a few more. Number 9, we have k squared plus k minus 30. We are going to do our diamond or our x here. C is going to go on top, B is going to go on the bottom. What's our C? Negative 30. And what's our b? What's in front of the k there? There's nothing there, so it's going to be a what? It's not a 0. If you said 0, good guess, though. It's going to be a 1. So we need two numbers that multiply to negative 30 and add to 1. So what we got? We got 1 times negative 30, 2 times negative 15, 3 times 10, 5 times negative 6. And you could actually flip the signs on those too if you want to. Those are all the things that multiply to 30. Which ones are going to add to 1, do you think? Well, I can see that 5 and 6 are kind of close, but which one's going to be positive, which one's going to be negative? Well, to add to a positive 1, the bigger number needs to match this sign. So if this is positive, this should also be positive, which means this has to be a negative 5, right? Because a 6 plus negative 5, the 6 is going to overpower the negative 5 and make it more positive, ending up with a positive 1 down here. So our answer is going to be We do our parentheses. We do k and k. We got -5 and +6. All right. Let me just show you really quick here what we're doing, okay? Just to show you. Let's distribute this. I do k times k is what? K squared. K times 6 is what? 6k. -5 times k is what? -5k. And -5 times +6 is what? -30. Now if we combine like terms here, 6k minus 5k, we get k squared plus k minus 30. See how that's what we ended up with, or we started with over here? So we're basically doing the opposite. So our answer is going to be this, what's in the parentheses here. But I just wanted to show you that this was kind of what we're doing. It's the opposite of distribution. All right. If you'd like to pause the video and try a few on your own, that's fine. But we're going to do, let's do a couple more here, just to make sure we get the habit down. All right, we have n squared plus 2n minus 80. Do our little diamond or x. -80 goes on top. 2 goes on the bottom. What numbers multiply to -80 and add to 2? That's kind of tricky. We got 1 times -80. Whoops. Okay, my iPad is goofing up here. -1 times 80. We got -2 times 40. What do you notice about those numbers? How do we get 2? What needs to be true about these numbers that they're going to be add up to 2? Is what's -2 plus 40? That's 38. That's really far from 2, right? So if this bottom number is 2, what needs to be true about the two numbers on the sides is they have to be pretty close together. So what numbers are kind of close together that will multiply to 80? Well, if you kind of think about it, 8 and 10 are pretty close together. And which one's going to be negative? Well, actually, +2. So it's going to be -8 and +10. Okay, so we get n minus 8 times n plus 10. Remember, the sign down here needs to match the bigger number, so it's going to be +2 or +2 and +10, and this is going to be our answer. Okay, 2 more to try, and then we're just going to give you the answers for the other ones, and you guys can compare your work and see how you do here. Okay, so let's do this. We have a squared minus 17a plus 72. 72 goes on top. -17 goes on the bottom. What numbers are going to multiply to 72 and add to -17? This one's a little tricky. We have a positive here. We have a negative here. Both of these need to be negative for this to be the case. So what numbers are going to multiply to 72? Should be 8 and 9. So it should be a minus 8, a minus 9. Also, you could have flipped this around if you wanted to and done a minus 9. It's a minus 8. It doesn't matter. You can flip these around. Doesn't matter what the order is as long as you have the correct factors. Okay, let's see here. One last one. This last one's a little tricky, I think. Let's see how we do. Well, maybe not. We'll see. All right, we have v squared minus 8v minus 20. We'll do our diamond here, -20 and -8. What numbers are going to multiply to -20 and add to -8? Well, we got 1 times 20. 2 times -10. Oop, can I get 8 from 2 and -10? Or -2 and +10? Let's put 2 and 10 here. Which one's going to be negative? This one down here is negative. So that means the bigger number needs to be negative. So we get 2 and -10. So we have v plus 2 times v minus 10. Okay. All right, I'll zoom out here a little bit. Why don't you guys go ahead and try the rest of these, see how you do, and we'll check our answers in a second. Okay, let's fill in our diamonds here. So for number 10, we had 90 and 19. It should be 9 and 10, which means we have, m plus 9 times m plus 10. And that should be the correct answer for this one. That was number 10. Number 12, we got 90 again. -90, actually. What's going to go on the bottom? It's going to be a 1. The numbers that should have worked for this are -9 and +10. So we should have gotten x minus 9 times x plus 10. All right. Number 14. We got -21 on top, 4 on the bottom. Numbers that should have worked are -3 and 7. So it should have been p minus 3, p plus 7. Okay. And then down here we have x squared plus 16x plus 60. We have, we'll do our diamond again. We should have 60 and 16. It's going to be 10 and 6. So it should be x plus 10, x plus 6. And that should be your answer for this one. Okay, hopefully this makes sense, but if it doesn't, make sure you come talk to me in or outside the class whenever we have time. And I hope you all have a terrific day, and thanks for watching, and we'll see you soon.